and we will go from there. Let's get through all of these fancy dancy disclaimers because, we got to protect, legally speaking, for everybody in the world who has something to say about something, which is pretty much everybody, if we're being honest, but we're not going to talk about that right now. So welcome everyone to the Super Easy Beginners class. For those of you guys who don't know, my name is Jennifer Baker and I am a coach inside of Super Easy's main platform. So as you guys know, these calls are for educational purposes only. And for those of you who are live on YouTube, welcome and thank you for listening in. Tonight, we're kind of going to do something a little bit different, but we still have to start off our disclaimers. So
classical Polish diversions.
Whoops. So please understand that everything we discuss on this live call is for educational purposes only, meaning I am not your accountant. I am not your tax advisor. I am just another person on the other end of this screen, kind of who's happened to get proficient at investing in terms of like business and stuff like that. So having said that, please understand that everything you learn is just educational and it's not meant to be taken as your, end all be all. We're all just kind of sharing the markets and then sharing how we see them the best we know how. So do not trade what you cannot afford to lose. Obviously, any form of investing in business is considered a high risk activity. But if you're asking me, I feel like it's a lot less risk than, committing 40 years to a job and not necessarily guaranteeingly walking away with something. So that's kind of the disclaimer for this evening. Any questions, comments on any of that stuff? This is recording. Sean, this is recording. Yes, sir. I think. Yep, it is recording. So moving beyond that, that's the chat. I'm going to stop this share. So tonight we've got something a little bit different. So I've got to minimize some of these screens. Bear with me. But we get a lot of questions about different things, different strategies. So for those of you who are only using the simplicity indicator, more power to you. For those of you who are only, doing the Jenny's golden strategy, that's great. But ultimately, all of this stuff, you can kind of use it in conjunction with what you learn over time. So having said that, there were some questions this morning in the advanced membership group about the Ichimoku, I'm probably going to butcher this, Ichimoku Kinko Hayo, if I'm saying that right, system.
That's correct.
Oh, look, I didn't even butcher it. Look at that. Yay. Small favors. I'll take that with a smile. And we had a gentleman actually who I don't know a whole great deal about. He's kind of new to the advanced membership group, but he constantly speaks up. He constantly is stepping out and is paying it forward and is always contributing, posting posts, sharing in terms of mindset and information. So he happens to have worked with somebody in the past, or he was originally trained on this system. And whereas I'm a good proficient trader, this isn't my cup of tea. Like, so I understand it enough to understand it, but barely enough to understand it. So I figured instead of me kind of going over all the ins and outs and details of what this is and how it works, I would, call in for reinforcements, call in for we the people to kind of help teach and go over what we know and just share what we know and how we know it. And so before I introduce him and kind of go a little bit more about him, you guys know if there's anything you don't know about trading, Baby Pips is a really elementary, easy place to start. You guys can even see it's, spelled out real jokingly. It's really simple. Good place to come and get a ton of information. If you don't know a term that is used in a live call, if you don't know really anything, it's just a really good free database worth of stuff that you can kind of get a foundation from at least. Now, this is more elementary for those of you who don't know. And then moving beyond that, we have the more kind of advanced one, which is going to give you a lot more formulas, a lot more mathematic, we're going to call it Scott-friendly information, the super detailed stuff that will tell you everything. And that's kind of investopedia.com. So please use these two resources if there is ever anything you want to know, just to kind of give you an idea of what's available out there. And again, this is all free information. So these are the websites that I would recommend. That's babypips.com and investopedia.com. So again, last thing I'm going to say before I do hand it over to our guest kind of for the evening is keep in mind that this system or any other system is still going to be best used with technical analysis, meaning it's still going to be best used with, knowing structure, knowing trends, knowing candle formations, patterns, and things of that nature. It's always in your favor to do so no matter what system you're using. For those of you who are in Super Easy and only use the triple arrows or only use simplicity, in theory, you could use this as confluence or confirmation for, is it with the trend when you get one of those simplicity signals, or is it against the trend? You can use it in terms of, use it, even though that is technically a counter trend or reversal based system, you can still use this as confluence for, and our guest speaker will kind of go over exactly how and why. But once you understand this system, it kind of gives you a ton of information. So I think that it has some Japanese definition, meaning, all inclusive, like, the one thing. It tells you all the stories basically. So having said that, the gentleman we have for you is somebody from Vegas, Las Vegas, Nevada, and that is Jay. We won't hold that against him per se, that he lives way, way out there.
Oh, I'm originally from upstate New York, but I'm out here in Vegas on the West Coast. I'm kind of liking it a little bit. I've been out here about a year.
I know, right? Well, then I will go ahead and would you like me to stop sharing my screen? And
you want to log into my computer, or how would you like me to show, or I can visually break down what's at your screen right here as well?
Okay, then you can do that. And if you feel like you need to share your screen or to kind of go over what you have, that's totally fine too.
Okay, cool. Can you put NAS 100, because that's what we use a lot for
We
trades?
do that a lot. That's kind of that's my baby.
I'm learning to adopt. I've just adopted her, so I kind of liking it. I like it. It's smooth and expensive, and it's not as wiki as US 30, but US 30 is still kind of cool too. Good evening, everyone. My name is James Younger, or everybody, my friends call me Jay. I hope everybody's doing well. I am very thankful and grateful for Jenny and the team inviting me just to speak and maybe offer some value to the group. Like she mentioned earlier, I am new to the Super EZ team. I saw it a while back, and I didn't join because I had learned how to. I was pretty taught to be much of a swing trader several years ago, and then unfortunately I had to get out of the trading game to not to trading but to another business. So the first thing I looked up was the Super EZ and decided to join because several people I followed through social media had nothing but positive things to say. And me being a team member for 2.5 weeks, I can agree with them wholeheartedly. So I'm just grateful. I tell everybody in the group, Barbara, Jenny, Scott, and all the other people that I've chatted with. I've never been around a great group of people I never met in person yet. So I am very thankful, and that's no baloney. But nevertheless, we'll start. Can everyone hear me? Because I'm sitting in the cafe outside. On my, I got my headphones on.
I can hear you pretty good. Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. So what we have here, if we start from left to right, is the Ichimoku cloud, Kumo cloud, as it's called. And basically, the origins of it, from I remember, it was by a Japanese trader developed this system a while back, is what I was taught. And what it pretty much shows is a moving dynamic levels of support, resistance, and consolidation. And quote unquote, it kind of predicts the future, especially with yen pairs, so to speak. So basically, if you look at the green cloud, it naturally is going up versus the red cloud naturally going down. Right there, Jenny, you see right in the middle, there's like a twist right in the middle, right there. That's called the Kumo twist. Now, what you usually see naturally, this is pretty much a technical indicator, and I love to use it because I trade from the mobile phone a lot, so I don't have trend lines plotted, but I can see, because I've used it so long, the levels of support, resistance, and consolidation just because of the cloud. So naturally, when you're trading or looking at charts, you always want to look to the left. So Jenny, can you scroll left somewhat? I just want to show the people something, right? And bring your right there. Now, if you go down to the bottom of the chart, a little bit further, right there, you'll see that that's a level of support, right? And typically, that's what's called our demand level. You have the supply level, which is pretty much the selling area, and the demand level, which is pretty much the buy area, supply and demand. So typically, when you see price action, what I've noticed and I have learned, that the big boys or the trillionaires, they like to move in consolidation to hide their trades. So, like Jenny, take that and go from left to right, and right where you were before, not the screen, but the actual bars right there. So if you go from left to right, you see the consolidation, and you'll see that the cloud, anytime price is caught up within that cloud, that's typically a sideways movement, especially in a demand area. Now, if you go over right there, Jenny, to that red cloud right there, you see price action has hit support. And typically what we'll notice is that price has a tendency, once it breaks the cloud, which is, you can kind of equate that to maybe a light area of support, it breaks through it and goes all the way up. Now, I don't know how many pips that is, so we're on an hour chop. That's what, about 4,000 pips or so, Jenny? Maybe give or take.
Good job. That's 4,500.
Oh, okay. So my vision is still good. So now I just guesstimate that because I'm looking at everything on my iPhone. So now if you look to the left, you'll see structure, as Jenny calls it, right to the left of that 4,000 pip move. Go to the left of the screen.
This is the left.
Yeah, no, keep going left. Move it to the right so we can see the right there. You'll see that double top, right? So naturally, that's the level of, that's our supply level. Now, if you go back to that 4,000 pip move, Jenny, you'll see price has dropped some over that 1, 2, 3, 4 hours. And then you see how it's caught up in that cloud. It's caught up in that consolidation. Now, it went back up right about there. And if you look left to small levels of consolidation, it's pretty much like how you mentioned that box that you like to draw out before price breaks. And then once it broke support, which is that green level, look how it dropped. Bam. Right? So now, if you look left to the close of the candles, they kind of equate to that last wick to the left that's on the screen. Right? So I like to utilize the cloud. I don't personally, like, it's got the Tinkin-sen and Kijisen and all that other stuff. Me, I personally, by using it, I just take it off on my desktop and my mobile because it's kind of in the way because of the other moving averages that we use to trade. So it's too much clutter. But what I look for, especially on these time frames, higher time frame, lower time frame, is a break of the cloud. Oftentimes, price will come back to retest it because it's a break of support or resistance. But when I see that and it co-aligns with other confluences that we utilize, I take the trade. And since I was telling Jenny earlier, seeing I'm a little rusty, I haven't traded the markets since last year, maybe Christmas. I was a little rusty, so this month for me was all about research and development, learning her ways of doing things, learning away from Uncle P, and then combining those two strategies with what I know how to do. So what I've noticed, every trade I was taking a screenshot on my mobile phone, so I was taking good trades and bad trades. Trades I knew would make money, and trades to let me confirm that along with the other tools we use that won't make money, and compare them side by side. So I started the account with a certain amount of dollars. And like I told Jenny earlier, I'm only down $20 in almost 3 weeks. So that just shows me that what I'm doing is working. So now next month, when we roll into the August, whatever, now it's about, I'm looking to make profit. So that's fundamentally just it. When you constantly see the bars within the cloud, it's demonstrating consolidation. And if you scroll left of that chart, you can see a consolidation, or what like Uncle Pete calls it. He calls it SpongeBob move, the SpongeBob head. I'm sorry if I said that incorrectly. You'll see consolidation. And when you see break of the cloud, you'll see either going up to supply levels or demand levels based on that area. And that's pretty much fundamentally it. And that's what I look for in a trade. And every trade that I've taken that was in profit, it was a break of the cloud that worked along with the other confluences.
With the golden strategy, my golden strategy?
Yes, yeah, that's correct, yes.
All right, awesome. That is. Okay, wait, I do have a question though, because this morning in class, you said something about the thinner cloud and the thicker cloud. Do you want to expand upon that a little bit for those of you who were asking this morning? Or
yes. Now, the thinner the cloud is, the weaker the support level is or resistance level. It's sort of like that one indicator I think you have on your standard chart, the GAN FX support resistance levels. It'll show weak resistance or strong resistance, or weak support, strong support. The thinner the cloud, that's even the better, because I've noticed during trades, like, if hold on, take your arrow and go right there. You see how that thin cloud is? Go to your right, and look how where price ran up to. You see how thin that cloud was? Go to your left with the arrow, right to your right, to your right, right there. You see how thin that is? And look how price moved. And when you look left, it hit that major point of resistance. So the thicker the cloud, the more consolidation, the stronger it is. So you really don't want to, I don't like to personally take trades, regardless what other confluences I may get, until a price action breaks the cloud. For me, it just works because coming from a swing trading perspective, that's how I was particularly taught to do it.
Okay, Donna, was that you speaking up?
Jenny, can you show that? Yeah, I was just saying, can you show, I couldn't see your mouse. Can you show that example again?
The thin cloud,
This thing.
right, yeah, right there. So that's a demand level. And
Right,
Jenny, go over to
right
the
there,
red
okay.
cloud. Yeah, go to
Yeah,
the red cloud. Right, hold on, you were right there. To your right, to your right. Yeah, right there, perfect. You see how thin that cloud is? And if you look left and it broke that little small structure of consolidation, price action moved, what, 3,000-4,000 pips? Easily. And it has a tendency to do that quite often. Not every time, but a lot of the time. And I've seen that through the 2.5 years when I was becoming a consistent trader before my other business, you know, had to take a dump and I had to get out of it. So I've always wanted to apply the cloud. If you keep going left, you'll see the consolidation. You see the break of a cloud, right? And sometimes cloud will bounce, price will bounce off a cloud like a moving average because it has some sort of special formula in there, which I personally don't know. But I've seen it work over and over and over and over and over. So for me, it has to be a staple on my charts because I can see it because I've been looking at it so long. And if you apply it to your chart, like a naked Kumo, just a cloud with all the moving averages, you will start to see it as well. You're like, oh man, every time it breaks the cloud or if it does a retest, it typically breaks down. It goes to a demand level or goes to a supply level. And you'll see it over and over and over, whether it's a larger time frame or smaller time frame. So that's just pretty much fundamentally it.
That's it. Does anybody have any questions for Jay specifically? Like in terms of the stuff that he said thus far? Yes, to the person.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please come on out.
Okay, so Jay, you said that you said that you typically look at this on higher time frames. I know that everybody's approach to a trade is different. Some people tend to start top down. Some people tend to start the reverse. Do you find that it's better for you to sort of go from a lower time frame and say, yes, this is, for instance, if you're looking for, and I know we're not looking for so much as trying to confirm, but if you're like, yes, I see a buy coming up, do you then sort of go to a higher time frame and say, wait, no, not at all? Or do you say no?
Absolutely. So let's just say we're looking at the NAS like we do on the team.
Okay.
And the other confluences take place. I immediately, me, force a habit because I come from the swing trade where it was the top down analysis.
Yes.
I go to the 15 minute to see where price is at. So if price broke the cloud on the 15 and we get a 5-minute signal, that's even better for me. So now we've broken supply or demand. Then I'll go back to the 5 and see where it is. And then naturally, after we get from Jenny's strategy, I'll go to the 1 to gain my entry. But what I do, because I'm pretty quick on the phone, I'll just use, and again, I like my laptop, but I kind of hate it too. I'm just a phone addict with the trades. I'll just grab some horizontal lines and just mark the levels of the higher time frames as well. So if it continues to break, and because I told Jenny I like to stack a little bit, I've learned to, she taught me today, my first entry, I called the baby, to mark those 10 or 100 pips. And I'll mark the horizontal level lines of the higher Kumo cloud to find out where price may stop or price may continue. Oh, I absolutely do that, top-down analysis. And I'm pretty fast with it from the phone.
Okay, thank you. That helps explain a lot.
I just hope, I could just add some value and help a few people, each one.
No, absolutely. Because it's always good to see how someone approaches a trade because so much of it can be textbook. And it's great to sort of see the textbook instructions. But when you're physically looking at a chart, you get that little bit of a deer in the headlights, like, okay, wait a minute. So that helps.
So right there, you see how Jenny's got it on the screen, if you go into the upper left-hand corner, Jenny, right where the green go a little bit to the right, right there, you see all that consolidation, and in price action broke structure at the bottom of the cloud, and then more than likely it retested because that's a higher time frame. Look how many pips it moved, and it does that on the lower time frames we trade too. Look what it does. So, like I mentioned to Jenny earlier, being a traditional quote unquote swing trader or swing investor, I have to learn to adapt a little bit to what she's teaching me, because I look at that 1 hour and I'm like, oh man, I see price going a little bit further, and sometimes I want to hold it because I could, that's the old swing trader me coming out. But so I'm learning this month to combine both so I can maximize the small 100 pip move and then maybe get 1,000 pip moves on the same day. But most importantly, lock in profits. So even if there's a retracement, because I've noticed Nas likes to retrace somewhat, it likes to retest, it likes to kiss the 50 quite often, then that I'm cool, even it knocks me out. So now I got 200 points, and I can live with that.
That's
so
really cool. Thank you.
Hopefully that was helpful. You're welcome.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, 100%.
All right, anybody else have any questions? Well, Jay, real quick, I'm going to interject. So like if you're trading, you can use even the golden strategy on the 1 hour time frame, and you can have your stop loss be this big. The thing is your account has to be able to withstand your lot size times, 1,500 pips. Okay.
Yes. That's correct, yes.
It has to be able to withstand that. So
yes.
On the minimum lot size with most brokers, that's a big chunk of money. Plus you're trading margined, leveraged, leveraged money. So to get a margin call becomes a huge kind of risk. So you can still do the same thing. But the talk this morning was more about make sure you have a take profit, because without a take profit, we get stuff like we got it and then it went against us. We got, this baby part versus catching a modest, reasonable one versus trying to catch this huge move, which we all don't do.
Yes. And like I said earlier, once I did that, after we had that talk, and I took a trade after the group meeting was over, I did it. I said, I'm going to go in, I'm going to throw my small one in, I'm going to set my 100 point, and it did it. And then I let the other 3 entries, it broke structure even more, but I locked in those extra. So it was actually a 400 pip move. And then once it started moving a little further, I made a little bit more money. I started to take them off one at a time. So now I just got to get real proficient and efficient at doing that every time.
Well, that's awesome. I'm so happy for you.
Hey, Jay, this is Stan. Did you say this morning that you had different settings on that cloud or not?
I do.
No, I'm sorry. I got the same settings, but Jenny's got the secret sauce.
I don't know if it's secret. It's just faster. That's all, guys. Like I said, there's nothing proprietary, so I promise. But I want to get through I want to honor Jay and make sure that anybody who wanted to ask him a question specifically can do so. And then I'll kind of go over, which again, I am not in any way, shape, or form claiming to be a Ichimoku cloud expert when I can't even say half of those words, if I'm being honest. So
yeah, I have a question.
Okay, come on out.
Okay.
Sure.
Hey, Jay. So you're using the cloud only on the 1 hour time frame, or do you take it down to the 5 and 15?
Yes, I have it standard on all my charts. So what I was learning from Jenny and the way her charts were structured, for me it was missing something, and I said, well, it's the cloud. Again, I take off all the other indicators that come with it. I just make them black as opposed to keeping the color on them. So I like to see, because based on my history of trading, I've seen it happen over and over and over when price breaks the cloud level, that it has a tendency to keep going more than likely after a retest. So seeing I have it standard and I go down to the 5-minute setup like we do, that's when I still use it. I look for that break. So what I'll do, if I see a break on the 5, I'll go to the 15 real quick to see where it is, where price is. And if it's broken to 15, it's broken to 5. Based on what I know, this is going to continue to go up or down. So absolutely, I use it on all the time.
Okay.
And you'll see it. Like, you'll see the consolidation. Like, price just has a tendency, I don't know, it's kind of weird. It kind of gets stuck in there until it breaks out. It just sticks there. And then when it breaks out, it breaks out. So, we can get our 100-point move or 200-point move. quite often from what I've seen thus far. And I always take screenshots of it. So I'm just training myself with the combination what I've learned from Jenny and what I learned from Uncle Pete and what I know. So now, okay, that's all I'm looking for every time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Anything else, I don't even care about the market because it's not going to make money. So hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully I got answer your question.
Yep.
Hey, Jay.
Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay, I got a question from somebody on YouTube. Yep, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes.
Okay. Somebody on YouTube is asking, when do you enter a trade and when do you not enter a trade?
Okay, based on the Kumo cloud, I will not enter a trade when price is stuck in the cloud. I'll wait. I'll sit there like a sniper. Even if we get the other confluences based on what Jenny has taught, I'll just sit there and wait. If it hasn't done it, I'll wait. And if I have to wait too long and I miss it, I'll just miss it. Because again, based on what I know, price will stick in there for quite some time. It's real slow in the cloud. It gets real slow regardless of the time frame. But when it breaks and there's a small retest, that's what I'm looking for, especially when I have the other components. So hopefully that was
so you do want it to retest the cloud as well?
Because you'll see price because it's breaking support and resistance, and sometimes before price makes a commitment, it likes to touch it a little bit. It goes back up and touches. So I'll wait for the break of the support or the resistance, and oftentimes if it retests and go back up, that lets me know, she was done with it, and then now it's almost time to enter. So that's fundamentally how I look at the cloud with it. And there's an example right there too, Jenny, of how. Let me pick right there. You see how where your arrow is? You see how price hit support? Then it went up with a little retest on the top cloud, came back down. And if you look, right there, and you look at that next candle, it retested it again, and then it made its commitment to go to demand. So it'll touch because it's pretty much dynamic support and resistance.
That's how I would describe it too, as dynamic support and resistance. That's what I was taught.
Oh, okay. Another question, Jay. So you're saying all those little lines, the red, the blue, the gold, you make those all black and you only have the clouds?
Yeah, I only use what Jenny is talking. I take all that out because it's too much. It's too much in the way for me to price and see what price is doing.
And we'll go over that in just a second, Jonathan.
Okay.
Hey, real quick, Derek has his hand raised all politely and kind. Do you want to come on out?
Hello.
Hey, Derek, how are you?
All right. Hey, Jenny. I got a question. So anything above the cloud, I mean, you're looking for buys. Anything up under the clouds, you're looking for sales, right?
Yes, sir.
I look for a break of the cloud is what I found to be the prime, along with the other confluences Jenny teaches, to be the prime entry. And every time I've done it and I've screenshot it, it's been a great winner. Like I put it in the group chat a few times, and you'll know, and I will highlight and circle it. And every time of the break of the cloud. So it's like a break of support, a break of price structure resistance. Like
what time frame?
The time frames we work on, what is the 5? Yeah,
also,
5. Yeah.
Also, real quick, what's the difference between the red and the green cloud?
The red is supposed to be, according to the guy who created, like an upward movement, and red is like it's going down. So if you look at it on any chart, you'll notice price action is down and it's typically red. And price action is going up, it's typically green. I mean, you can always change the colors. I keep it red and green.
Yeah, and different systems will have different default colors. So just look at the direction it's moving, you'll be able to tell what it is.
Yes.
Okay, so real quick, I'm going to kind of go over, like I said, I'm not by any means Ichimoku, Kinko, Hayo cloud expert. So when I was taught to use this, actually, one of my mentors used primarily the Ichimoku system, and a couple of guys I worked with a little one-on-one, and then obviously in huge settings, they loved the cloud. But for me, this was like vomit to my eyes. Like it was just painful for me to look at. It was not fun. So I'm not going to fib when I say I tried to kind of perfect this. And the rules in theory are all pretty self-explanatory. And it's said to be one of the most accurate technical indicators on the market with the standard settings on certain time frames, all kinds of science and strategy testers to back that up. But obviously, a billion people use this a billion different ways on a billion different days and for different reasons. So keep in mind, again, anything we discuss is meant to be, these are just different settings, different timeframes, and different possibilities. So now, if you are in my advanced membership group on Thursday morning, we can drop what just the cloud on the time frame we use on, like, for example, NAS, German 30, and US 30, and kind of see when we get those reentries, kind of using the same settings we discussed this morning, and see how often of those will play out when you avoid, being in the cloud, and when you avoid, going against the trend. So ultimately, I'm sure Scott, would piggyback better than, Jay and I combined, because he's very technical. So he's amazing at this kind of stuff. But before he does that, and I know he's gonna, so in the most loving way possible, but I'm gonna tell you what I know. So not very much. I just know that, again, kind of comparable to what Jay said, when it's above the cloud, we're only looking for buys, right? When we're below the cloud, we're only looking for sells. Pretty self-explanatory. I was also taught that see this green line right here, it matters. So when it's pointing a certain way, we need to be facing up if we're looking for a buy, and or facing down. So for example, on some of the live calls, if our predictive line, because this is meant to be predictive, but see how it's lagging? This green line is technically behind price. So if it was pointing up, still we're buying. But the second this goes sideways or goes down, it means we wait. Now, again, not a lot of people use that anymore. And then, of course, you have your TK cross, and that's the fancy weighted, moving averages. And that's this red line and this blue line. So the TK cross is one of the most common entries and forms of support and resistance in terms of this indicator. But I feel like most of the people I've worked with at this point in my trading career don't even pay as much attention to the TK cross. And the ones who do don't use it in conjunction with the cloud. It's kind of funny how they have literally built this one. I know they have it on one of these darn websites, but hold on. Which one is it? It's built to be the one, meaning one look. There you go. So they've now officially separated kind of all the meanings. So I'm not going to go into all the mathematical reasons of what this stuff is, because this website does a much better job at literally breaking down the science and the math of how this is calculated. And if you really want to know the technical analysis of this, that's your best place to go. So it would save you some time and everybody else to understand at least what it means. But what I would want you guys to know is that when you get a signal from, for example, Simplicity or the triple arrows or the golden strategy, it doesn't matter which one, or maybe you're just doing technical analysis and you happen to be kind of up in a cloud, it would give you a good idea to kind of maybe wait. And it's the same thing with any other form of structure. So that's pretty much the extent of it. A lot of people use the cloud as dynamic support and resistance. And if they're not using that as an exit, they're either using the Tekinson or the, hold on, Tekinson or the TK Kinju.
I can't even pronounce them all myself either.
Yeah, Tinkin or Kijun.
Kinju, see, I knew Scott would say that right. But what I was taught to do was actually speed this whole thing up. So these were the settings that we used in a very big group that I was in quite a while ago. Now, mind you, anytime you speed stuff up, you're going to get faster results, obviously, but you're also going to get more, well, not necessarily, but you have the possibility of getting more false signals. So if you were to drop the traditional standards and then these settings onto a chart, you'll see how, for the most part, they're actually not that diverse. This one does give you a slightly cleaner, slightly less cloud to kind of deal with. If you say same time frame, same settings, kind of to give you an idea of what you're looking at. And obviously it's because the settings are different. So those are the settings, and I'll show you one
Jenny,
more.
may I ask you to show those settings one more time?
6, 13, and 26.
Basically cut everything in half.
Everything.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Conversion line. You're cutting everything in line but the conversion line. So and you're literally cutting it in half. So that's all that we did. And it definitely has its place. So if you were to use this in conjunction with like a currency strength indicator or I know at times we've used it in conjunction with the rules for the triple arrow system. It's no different. It would keep you out of taking, for example, this trade that wasn't ready ended up going against you, because this is usually when you get that signal and technically it's right, but a lot of people have a mini heart attack or already hit their stop loss before it pays out. And again, this is investing. It's not always easy, but having something a little bit faster would hopefully keep you out of this move, for example, and help you be more likely to take that move. So that's like literally, and I know Scott will probably.
I want to touch on the real purpose of that line.
Okay, go ahead, you do that.
Because the Chiku-sen is critical to this system if you want to use the entire system. And whether it's pointing or up or down at the end is only a matter of whether the current candle is higher or lower than the close of the previous candle. That's where that direction is set from. What that is just like a line chart set back by a number of periods. So that doesn't, there's nothing magic about that. You can see that with the candles. So what's important about the Chiku-sen is you look up in this area here, you get this break up above the cloud. Now it was more apparent with the slower times, but I can show you right here. We get a break up above the cloud there. And you're tempted to say, okay, that's a bounce off the cloud and we're going to go. However, if you look back at where Chiku-sen was at that time, it's right in here. Remember, you shortened up the times, so it's in a different place now. It's right in the middle of price, right here.
I want you to be able to show what you're saying effectively. So let's change it back for conversation purposes. Let's go to defaults.
Okay, I'll tell you what, while you're there too, can you change the, can you just take the cloud off altogether?
I suppose that's the lead.
Probably.
I don't know. Oh, there we go. I knew better. Silly me. Let's go to defaults again and then turn these off. There you go.
There we go. Okay. So that's better. We can see those lines more clearly now. So so we're at all default settings now, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. So we have, you can still see a vestige of the cloud underneath, and that's just fine. So we're bouncing up out of the cloud here, and we look back, our Chiku-sen is peaking right in there. And it's still kind of in the middle of this whole big price box, which is considered consolidation. So it's a way of looking back, kind of placing your current price back in time to see, am I out of the noise yet? So when we get down to this break of the cloud down here, we see we're coming out of the noise. And that gives us a clear signal to go down.
Because you see, there's no recent peaks. So yes, the person who taught me this on the scalping with the cloud, if there's no peaks within the last, say, 26 candles, if you need a rule, so this is within the last handful of candles, this peak counts. These peaks down here, not so much. So this is a clear drop. There's no peaks on the, however you say that word.
Chiku.
Chiku. I knew that. See, Chiku. The difference. So that line is kind of important for those of people who like it, but a lot of people just take those lines off. So do you have anything more to add about the cloud system, Scott?
Oh, I could go a long way, but is it worth it? You've got these other lines are like, this would be like a 26 period moving average. This is like a 9 period moving average. They're not exactly, but I'll tell you the way that they're formed is if you have a high and a low in the last 9 candles, for instance, right in the middle of that is your Tenkan-sen. The center of the highest high and the lowest low in a look back of 9 candles, that is where your Tenkan-sen line is. It moves around pretty quickly because it's a fairly narrow window. Your Kijun-sen is the same thing over the last 26 candles. So it's the mid price of the range of the last 26 candles.
In Jenny's way of saying that, it's a fancy weighted EMA. That's all those are. So, but people use them quite extensively in terms of finding signals of entries and exits. So.
Yeah, because you can trade it just looking for these crosses, and it crosses back up, and there's enough lines here. I'm getting a little confused. I guess it's right there. So you get, you know, you'd have that much range of a sell. And, you know, you can trade the crosses. I mean, this one here is, you know, probably not going to be profitable. That's a loser, but you're also in consolidation. You wouldn't want to take that buy because you're kind of still sitting in this consolidation range.
Draw that special box. It'll keep you out of a lot of trades.
Right there.
Okay. Hey, I had one question on the peaks on the, I don't know which one that is, that little, the gold green one. You
Yep.
said that if you have a peak within a certain distance, it means that it's not ready to fall on that when Scott was speaking.
So for example, remember this is lagging. So if price is here, that line ends here. Okay.
Okay.
So let's see if, oh, my crosshair is going to have to work. So that means when price is here, that line technically is ending here. So when Scott was drawing this spot, that line was kind of in and around here. So it's kind of still in this area of interest. So what I was taught was, yes, people have used this for stop losses, for supports and resistance. People use this for kind of finding the zone. A lot of peaks in here is consolidations, where this is obviously clearly trending, right? So this peak is only going to happen in the last so many. So if you wanted to use a peak on the, you know, this one right here, which was, I was taught is the predictive one. Either way, that it would be the most recent peak. So if we were to be looking for a buy, our stop loss would be here. I mean, right now we've got some dojis. We're inside of a cloud, so we're not going to take it just yet. We need.
Okay, I have no idea what you're saying, Jenny. Sorry.
Well,
I'm sorry.
because of the delay in those lines, this peak is this right here.
Okay, what's this?
The orange boxes. Can you see it, Jonathan?
Oh, okay. Which peak is the orange box now? Show me the peak that's the orange box.
The green line is the peak.
Okay.
So remember, and this is where price currently is.
Actually, Jenny, change to a line chart instead of a candle chart.
Oh dear.
Now, what it is, this line right here, that peak is the close of prices.
Okay.
That was the price at the current time. And this one here is the delayed, you know, it's just the same line pushed back 26 candles.
Okay. Now, what did you mean? Okay, go back to the box to your left, and you follow that line down. You mentioned something about that line by it going down meant that price was ready to fall. You know, where it was.
Yeah, it's when price falls below the recent consolidation.
Well, see, right now you're seeing the line chart, so now it's going to confuse him. Hold on.
Yeah, go ahead back to candles.
Okay. Okay. So does that line give you a signal that price is going to fall, or is that just what happened and that line just tells you that it fell?
Well, what it is a way that instead of looking at your price coming down here and having a line drawn across your chart to say, okay, we're breaking through the level, it's the line being drawn back here saying, okay, it's right there. I can see that's going below the level.
Oh, okay.
That's really all it is.
Okay.
So that is a great way to explain it. You see how price is the blue line? Literally, the Chiku span is literally the same thing as a price line.
Okay. All right. So I think like Jay, you can make that one black.
Hey, hold on, guy. Whoever that guy with his name start with an F is, please mute him.
Now, if we're trading another thing like, the golden strategy or simplicity or the triple arrow system or whatever it is, you've got other reasons for taking it. And, just using the Ichimoku as a confluence of these consolidation ranges that the cloud shows us, that's a fine way to trade it.
Okay.
In fact,
And if I can interject, Scott, that's exactly how I use it in combination with everything else.
yep.
Not in isolation.
And there's another trading system that I was looking into that's pretty cool. It's designed for 5-minute scalps that is using a really fast cloud. Jenny, we're on 5-minute, right?
Yes, sir.
Let's go back to a regular chart. Are you wanting to show something right now?
Just real quick, and then I'll let you
Okay.
take the floor again. So to answer your question of what I do with that line or what I was taught to do with that line is pretty simple. So this is your your whatever, your C1.
Cool.
Okay. I'm going to get it right eventually. I barely speak English, y'all. So going back to candles, long candles. Let's go to here.
Yeah.
So here, this is where we're at. So I'm going to draw a vertical line where we get the TK cross. That TK cross happens here. This is technically considered a signal. And the odds are on our strategy, we got a signal right there or before then. This is when it broke through the cloud and kind of retested. So by then, if we had taken either of these trades, this would be the stop loss. This would be our first take profit. So instead of only going for 10 to 15 pips, we're looking at the most recent peak. So like anywhere the most recent peak was, so none of these are lower really than price. Your next peak could even be here.
Yeah,
So
careful. That's this one
would have
This one doesn't even exist until this paints.
So this
So
would
it's not there for target. It would have to be that one. Yes. Which is this.
in the future. So to kind of give you an idea of how that was used, and again, I am not by any means too familiar with this, but that is what I was taught, was if we took this TK cross, okay, our stop loss would be the next peak. If this is too close, we're going to go to the peak after that. So that peak is here, right? If you look at the green line, which remember is just price moved backwards. And again, if we're looking for our target, so that was somebody who scalped on the 5-minute and the 15-minute using the Ichimoku cloud in conjunction with like the 1 hour or the 4 hour, for example. When we looked for a target, we were going for that guaranteed, almost guaranteed that you could bet your life on it kind of 10 pips, multimillionaire trader kind of mentality. Your target, if you were going for more than that, was the most recent kind of peak. So that's here. Had you taken that on either of the TK cross, worst case scenario, you got it. Even if you kind of let it ran or you went to the closer one, you still got your almost 20 pips or 200 pips on NAS. So, but I'll stop there and let Scott go in because Scott's really good at all the. Okay, what do you want to do, Scott? Go to the higher time frame or what?
What I want you to do is let's go ahead and take off the lines.
Can I put the cloud back? Because I like the cloud way better than.
I want the cloud on, but we're going to change all the settings.
Oh, we're going to change them. Listen to this.
Okay, now go to inputs and let's go with a 5. No, what is it? Give me just a second. I'm going to grab these timings. It's on this one. 2, 3, and 5.
That's uber fast.
It's super fast.
I think I might know the system you're talking about because my friend told me, and it was like 2, 2, and 5, not 3 though. Huh? Oh wow, that's not even much of a cloud at all. That's almost zigzag.
Oh, hold on. No, the delay is wrong. Go back into settings. Displacement needs to be, I think it's 3. That looks right.
It still looks like a zigzag though, a delayed zigzag. That's it.
Yeah, but the idea is when you break below the cloud here, with confluence of another indicator, you trade that down until it breaks through the top of that cloud. It doesn't do it there. It doesn't do it until all the way down there.
Oh, that's like that one thing. What is it? It's not the Donson channel. It's the chandelier. It's real comparable.
No.
No?
Scott, why did you pick that particular place? That we see that's a big drop.
Yeah,
but
I understand. No, but here we're in a downtrend up in this area here. So we are not going to take the counter trend trades. We know we're moving down. So we come
Right.
up, we break down below. Now we don't close outside of that until all the way down here.
Mhm.
And now it comes up, it breaks below. We go short and it doesn't come back out of it until here.
Where, wait a minute, where? Okay, yeah, okay.
Oh,
And, you know, so we do a retrace, we wait, it breaks below, we get into it here, and it doesn't break below or it doesn't break back above on a close until there. So at this level.
I've never seen it look like this because even the faster cloud settings still looked like a cloud. This looks like a zigzag, or like that one.
Okay, can you find a loss in there? Because that looks
Oh yeah, there
pretty.
will be losses. It's we just have to find, you know, over in here, there'll be losses.
That looks pretty consistent.
You know, it's when you get into sideways consolidation, it's when it's always ugly.
Hold on, watch your drawings there, mister.
Actually, look like you could do something like that and you just have a take profit, because some of those moves were nice and then you gave a lot of it back when it came and crossed back over.
Yeah, you will give some of it back. And if you can set a reasonable take profit, you know, that's fine too.
But I don't know, would this be recommended to use on NAS because just the spread alone?
Well, it's going to depend on your broker. And, you know, the spread on NAS is, oh, AFX is not a good spread. It's about 45 pips. But our ATR during the day, you know, when it's really moving is more like 120. So it's 3 times, you know, so it's doable.
Mm. Well, that's pretty complicated cloud stuff that I don't know anything about. So
I'm just saying that there are lots of ways of trading with the cloud. And this is just another one.
there you go. There you go. Don't you think it looks like the zigzag though? No?
Sure. Because they're going to react very quickly to the ups and downs of price. So what you're wanting is something else that gives you confluence of direction. You could put a MACD down on the bottom and, you know, kind of trade the direction of the MACD and then take the trades in that direction. There's all kinds of different ways you can combine it to work.
We love the MACD.
We do.
Thank you, Jenny, for showing me how to maximize his talents.
Between that and the ADX, I mean, I'm telling you guys, it's king. Okay,
Yes,
but
it
real
is.
quick, I'm going to tell you the last thing. If I were to choose what I would have on the chart, I would use whatever moving averages you guys see best, and then your lagging your lagging span, your Chiku span, or the cloud. So
You got
if
it.
you want this, I got it. See, I did know English. It turns out. So either way, just maybe have the cloud on here. You don't even need this. I mean, if you struggle finding your support and resistance, or take profits or potential zones, keep it on. If not, delete the lagging span too. English is way better, and just keep the cloud. It'll give you a lot of confluence. It'll kind of keep you. Again, nothing is perfect, but it's just one more thing that can keep you out of those consolidation trades. So, for example, if you got a triple arrow system here, and then you weren't quite above the cloud, you would know. Or if you didn't get it until here, I mean, it gives you just some options and a different way of seeing things. So that was kind of the whole purpose of kind of just going over some diverse information settings and opinions. Again, none of it's law. Please do your due diligence. Go to babypips.com. They make it into anime jokes, kind of funny. Investopedia's got a lot more science worth your time. And that's about that. So,
And the
Donna,
science is really unimportant unless you're trying to write indicators.
the coding.
Yeah, the formulas behind it are relatively unimportant unless you're really geeky.
I'm trying to get geeky. I can't do it. I can't code. I can't. This is it though.
I have a question. Hi,
Yes, sir.
everyone.
Hello.
I noticed you're using TradingView, and I want to try to see about the last, what the settings Scott shared. I just want to kind of see how that would work. But I want to use it on the MT4 platform. And I noticed that the inputs are different You have like on the trading view, there are like 4 different things.
You won't have the displacement, so you just do the what was it, the 2, 3, and 5, was it?
Oh, okay. All right.
Is it gonna work the same or no?
Yeah, it just won't be quite as trading view is a little prettier. That's all.
2, 3, and 5.
Yeah, 2, 3, and 5.
Okay.
Sounds like-
Yeah. I also have I can do it on trading views. I just don't trade on it, but I'm sure.
No, it works fine on on MT4.
I can barely say it. It's so funny. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Scott,
I'll let you know how that works.
Okay.
Yep, please do, because I'm curious of how this works. Without the other setting set, it doesn't look like zigzag anymore. It doesn't.
It's just because price is going to be leading this a little bit because it's going to be lagging price, so price will zigzag around it.
Okay. Well, that's that. Does anybody else have any questions in terms of how you use the Ichimoku Kinko Hayu cloud system with anything we do in Super Easy or any of the stuff that we do in any shape, way, or form?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
On MT4, is there a way to get the actual like clouds to fill up? Or is that a specific setting or something, or is that only for trading view?
Look, I can show you if you want to let me share, Jenny.
Yes, sir. No.
So if you go into your cloud settings, it's going to be the width of these lines. So the bottom two, the up Kumo and down Kumo, are the, those are going to be the colors and the line widths. So we can fill it in.
Okay. And is that something that's already in MT4? Or do you have to download that special?
It is in
Ichimoku
MT4.
cloud?
You'll find it under Trend, Ichimoku Kinko Hayo.
Okay. Okay, thank you. One more question. Jenny, I was hearing you say something, and the first guy, I can't remember his name. He was saying something about the golden strategy or something. This is my first night. I just got into the easy, Forex, the EZ Forex. What is that? Is that a class? Is that something you sign up for?
That's part of the step 5 on the website. It's part of the private group in terms of Super Easy. So we just go live a couple of times more per week. It's mostly just, we hang out. We sometimes take live trades. They mostly win. We don't always take live trades. And yes, sometimes they lose. It's just part of real investing. But then there's another gentleman in there who gives signals. And then there's a couple of other indicators too that I believe Pat offers within that group. I'm not quite sure on that specifically at this moment, but I think the Super Easy, more advanced support and resistance is part of that, I believe. But it's just another kind of a membership group. So for the most part, we hang out, we talk ideas, and the environment that I'm looking to cultivate is that one where you can kind of talk about more advanced strategies. You can discuss more deeper things. We run contests and give away monies. And that's it. Just the whole idea is for more than one person to kind of go over your trades. We have somewhere you can ask and a little bit more mentorship, I suppose.
Jenny, can I chime in? This is Jay.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
To the individual talking, I would highly recommend joining it with us, man. I've been involved for almost 2.5 weeks now. And I'd say every time I'm very thankful that I found these people.
It is pretty awesome. Thank you, Jay.
Yes, it's an awesome class. Very awesome people. Yes.
I need to go to the website and sign up for that.
Yep, you have to go through step 5. So if you're already a Super Easy member, then you would just complete all the steps all the way through step 5. I believe if you have any trouble with that, you can talk to Miss Donna. She's the admin of that group, so she'll get you or make sure you need everything, whatever you need to do is done. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You are welcome. All right, and thank you, Jay. I super appreciate it. Anybody else have any questions?
I'm glad I can bring some sort of value and group and give the little information that I have. No problem.
Yeah, no problem. It's been kind of awesome. So anybody else in terms of this, it's not meant to be some super formal VP Morgan level and, education. This is meant to be kind of hang out, get a different perspective on how this works and how to use it. Just some ideas and thoughts to throw around. So anybody else going once? And I'm ending this call. So going twice. All right.
Good night, Jenny.
One quick clarification. Last Thursday, when you slept through class,
Thanks, Scott. This is live and recorded.
you said something about filling in on Wednesday to make up for it. Are we talking about meeting tomorrow still?
I don't know. Do you guys really want to do a meeting tomorrow?
Yes, absolutely.
Of course.
Every day. Let's go, Jenny.
Hey, thanks, Scott. I like you
Every
too.
day.
Only a baby amount.
Thanks,
Every
Scott.
day.
I'm talking to your wife about that.
Well, she asked me the question earlier.
Thanks, Wendy. It's all on you. All right, cool. Yeah, we'll go live tomorrow morning. That's
Way to
what.
throw her under the bus, Scott.
Yeah, he put you on the spot.
All right, there were some other people stepping up to ask a question right as I was ending. I know Jonathan was one of them. I recognize your voice, so.
Oh
No.
no, I just said way to throw your wife under the bus, Scott.
He did. He's good at that. Let me tell you.
I think he loves me.
It is. Well, I hear you guys are a cute team. Juice, I see you muted. How can I help you?
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear every other word or so.
Okay, I'm at work, so it might be like, if you can't hear me, I'll just ask.
All right. If you type it real fast, I will wait on you and I will answer it. If you type it, there's just some weird noises that I can't get through. So while he's typing, you guys got a minute or so. Anybody else have any questions?
It says the chat is disabled.
Anybody catch that, or is it just me?
Yeah.
I didn't catch it. I was gonna ask a mini question.
All right, you go ahead. Juice, type your.
Scott,
It
you
says the
mentioned
chat is disabled.
YouTube. Oh, whoops.
Go ahead.
Okay. Scott, you mentioned a YouTuber this morning that was sort of dealing with general topics. It was Chaos Trader.
Chaos Trader 63.
Thank you.
He's got a YouTube channel and a website, FX at One Glance, I believe.
Thank you, Scott.
You're welcome.
Hey, Jenny, it feels like the chat is disabled.
I don't know what Donna did to it. She's being, I don't know. She probably broke it or something. I don't know why it's just, but go ahead. See if
So
you
I
can.
was wondering, if you use the multi-cloud, are you waiting until you get a signal on the MACD and then checking to see if it breaks the cloud? Is that what the whole thing is? Or
I suppose tomorrow morning, since Wendy made sure I wanted to come on live tomorrow morning, we'll go over how I would kind of put this on there. Because remember, like, so I wasn't working too much for 2 weeks. I was kind of traveling and I had some other stuff going on. So that's why we ran the competition. But in that time frame, we had a multitude of people kind of posting things with Fibonacci, posting things with let's see, well, Fibonacci, I think, was the biggest one I noticed. Ichimoku Cloud was another one, and various other things in conjunction with that golden strategy. So the settings I went over this morning using the multi-time kind of concept, using both of them as confluence, and in it, adding the cloud to it, you could choose fast or slow. I would probably go with the slower, more traditional for the purpose of this. Since we have other confirmations, I would do the traditional settings. If you didn't have those other confirmations, I would recommend doing the faster settings. So yes, when you get confluence on the golden strategy, if it's in the cloud, skip the trade. If it's out of the cloud, so for example, if you get a sell signal and you're below, which you would get one somewhere in here for sure. You would get one here, 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 here. So you would get a multitude of trades again, and then it comes down to psychological, emotional levels of management and all the stuff that kind of goes with that. But you can definitely take them in that context. That's how I would personally use this. If you see it, if you don't see it, please skip it. Don't put more stress on your brain and more analysis paralysis Rather, if you can see it and you can comprehend it, add it. And if not, maybe spend a few minutes each week kind of just flipping through the charts, reading about it, learning a little bit. And when you get comfortably able to see it, then you can add it. So,
Oh, by the way, we've got something showing right now that it would be a good thing to point out. When you have flat areas of the cloud, like right there, that is considered a fairly strong support area. And if we look at where we come down here, we get a nice bounce off of that support.
perfect bounce. Yeah, the flat, so the super flat parts of clouds. There's
Right.
so much to say in this indicator that we couldn't all possibly say it in one exact setting. Got everything in it, everything at all. Let me manage participants. Whoever's got some background noise.
I
Paul,
think that's a data.
Data, did you have something you wanted to say?
Yeah, there's something you guys said about the cloud, like the tiny the cloud, the better it is, or something like that.
I'm sorry?
You said the tiny the cloud, like the smaller the cloud, the better it is to get it, or something like that. Like the cloud is small, it's better. That means trying is
Are you
stronger.
talking about when Jay said when it gets really thin, when the cloud is about to twist and it changes from one color to the next?
Yeah.
So the twist indicates a change in direction, right? Like,
Yes, it kind of gives you a heads up, like, oh man, what happened to my computer? That price is indicative to potentially change. It's supposed to be so like a future prediction, but what I've noticed is that the thinner the cloud, the better the break, because it seems to be a weak area of supply and demand. Yeah.
Yeah, and the other thing, Jenny, why don't you go up to the settings for your cloud
yes, sir.
and change the, is it in inputs? Yeah, your displacement, set that to 0. Let's see what that looks like. It didn't do it. Maybe it doesn't let you do a 0.
There you go.
Okay. Because that's close to where it's actually being drawn from. You know, so instead of being pushed so far into the future, go to the real tail end, go all the way to the right. Yeah, we're in sync right now. There's only one to the right of that. So it gives you an idea of how that's being drawn. It is like another moving average, but by pushing it into the future, it gives you some clearance. It's like a shifted moving average.
For those of you who have stuck with me for a while, you guys know that when I think of the cloud, I think of a fancy, fat, kind of weighted 52 moving average, because literally that's what this is. It's a 52 weighted moving average with some other stuff and fancy stuff that we don't want to talk about. So that's it. And it's moved forward. So, but that's strange though, because look, you're going down and then you're inside the cloud. This is where you're getting the twist, you know, give or take.
Mm-hmm. So you're getting a bullish twist there as price is moving up through the cloud.
This one makes sense. This one doesn't.
Remember, it's a range of 52, and so it takes a little while for it to happen.
Hey Scott, this is Jay. I gotta give you some. I gotta salute you real quick. I've been trying to figure out for God knows when how to make those colors solid on MT4.
Yeah, well, that'll do it.
I was like, because it looks cleaner like that, and it also shows when price is caught up in there. Like it is also an indication to stay out of it because price is not clear. So I just want to say thanks. I just adjusted that on the phone and on my desktop.
How did you do that? I didn't catch that.
Set the width of the lines for the future Kumo.
Yeah.
What?
Thank you. I just want to say thanks.
How did you do it again, Scott?
There are line style and widths for the what do they call it? They call it Kumo up and Kumo down. And so I think by default they're dotted. And
yes,
change them to solid and then up the line width to 4 or 5.
Okay. See if I can find that bad boy.
Yeah, my mobile Kumo looks so much better. I even got clear indication what to do.
Oh
What not to do.
dear.
Happy to help.
Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. You're like a lifesaver. I guess I'll forgive you. No, I'm joking.
Hey Scott, the lines in here are just numbered, and then which ones am I changing?
The lines are numbered.
Yeah, I just have a 0, 1, 2, 3, 4,
Did you
5,
go to
6.
colors?
Yes. What am I supposed to go to?
5.
Are you on mobile?
No, I'm on the my desktop.
Okay, which indicator are you using?
And Ichimoku.
Well, was it under trend or was it elsewhere?
It was in market, I mean, a navigator.
Right, but there's one under the trend folder and there's another one that's further down.
Oh,
God, I think he's talking about when you increase the numbers you changed it to like 5, because I know what he's talking about. So on MT4, when you were demonstrating to us for the first time, you changed the widths all the way to the highest level widths for the
Right.
Ichimokus or Kumos.
Yes, I did. And what I'm confused about is that he's seeing only numbers for the input rather than the actual lines. I don't get that on either of the copies that come with MT4, so I'm not sure what you're looking at, Jonathan.
Oh, so
But anyway,
where should I go for the indicator then?
Oh, try setting it to 5 and see what happens.
Wait a minute. Let me see. I got trend. There we go. Ichimoku. There's a different one. Okay, let me try this one. See what happens. Okay, it gives me parameters 92652. Doesn't give me a displacement.
I'll go to color.
Okay, colors. It gives me names. And okay, so now which ones am I changing?
It's the bottom 2. It's Kumo up, Kumo down.
Kumo up, Kumo down. And so I'm supposed to change those to solid.
Yeah, change those to solid. That would be the first one.
Okay, and then change the
other one to the fattest option.
Fattest option. Okay, and that's it. And just hit OK. See what happens. Oh, yes. Not your colors, but there are colors there.
I changed my colors.
Okay.
I like the cloud a little dimmer.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, thank you, Scott. Now I'm looking at price action stuck in the cloud, and it's telling me to ignore it right now. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, guys, well, that's a little over on time for tonight. I try to keep these nighttime calls pretty short and manageably rewatchable. So,
okay.
Having said that, if you're part of the other group, by all means, bring all these questions tomorrow morning, since Scott and Wendy will be there fresh and early with a cup of coffee, and so will I. Other than that, I hope you guys all have an amazing night. I hope that this helped somebody. Thank you all for coming and participating, and I guess I will see you guys next week.
Good night. Good evening.
Thank you, everyone.
Good night, Jenny.
Thank you.
Good night, Donna. Sweet dreams, everyone.
Have a good one.